So the purpose of this video is to inform you about a tool that you have available to you that is a way to communicate with both staff and students in a way that is compatible with Senate Bill 181 because it is traceable and it lives within our Google Workspace and within our district. So I want to show you a couple options of how to get to this tool called Google Chat. So Google Chat's been around for a few years now, but it is an instant messaging software that you can do within our Google Workspace. The reason I think that it's potentially going to be really beneficial to our staff is that it does allow you to access it from a couple different methods. So one of the ways is just to simply go to chat.google.com, but it is also an app that you can use. So I have personally downloaded this to my desktop as an app. You can see it lives down here. It's got the messaging icon down here. I also have it downloaded to my phone. I have the app downloaded so that I can still receive messages to my phone. I can receive those notifications if it's after hours or if I'm not sitting at my desk. That can be really beneficial. So you can be getting messages at any time if you would like to have them to be reached, whether you're communicating via phone or from your desktop. You can still certainly use email. This just makes it, this just provides some messaging features that feels similar to WhatsApp or any other messaging platform. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in the app format. And again, I have this downloaded to my phone as well. Now, I will say that it is important to know which account that you're in. So this is a separate work account that I have. But when I click on that, you can make sure that are going to want to make sure that you're in your Scott County Schools Google account. If you have a personal Gmail account, you're still going to be able to access Google Chat through that. But we want to make sure that in order to stay compliant with Senate Bill 181 that we are working within our work accounts. So I'm going to show you what this looks like as it's set up in the app and explain some of the features and show you how to set up your own spaces within Google Chat. So you can see that I have several different options available to me over here. You can expand this, or you can make it a little bit smaller if you don't necessarily want to be able to see all the details. But I have a couple features available to me. I have direct messages, so this would be like one-on-one conversations that I have with people, or I have what's called spaces. And spaces are going to be like a group chat or a specific group that I have set up. You can see this one in particular is an EdTech group chat that we have set up. It's got about 242 members in it, so it's a pretty large one. We also have one for our DLCs and STCs as well. But I'm going to show you how to set that up. I will say you can add sections here. So I have some older ones. These Google Spaces are not going to go away, but you can archive them and kind of have them in a different section. So these are really the two sections that I live within the most. So I'm going to show you how to set up a space. I'm going to create a space here. We'll call this demo space. Now you can set up emojis to go with it as well. So let's say that I'm working with a particular team or a group, and I could set it up. I could have an emoji. You don't have to have one whatsoever. So you're going to have a couple different options for these spaces. Collaboration is going to be more of the group conversations. This is going to allow you to share things and have threads. Announcements would be just like you would assume if you're only needing to share announcements to the group. So you don't need anybody to be able to check back in or to reply to anything. It's just to send out announcements. One thing to know though, when you set this up, you're not going to be able to go and change that later. And it tells you that this can't be changed after creation. So be mindful about what kind of space you're wanting to set up and how you're wanting to use it. You can set up as many spaces as you need. So it's certainly fine if you set it up incorrectly, you can go create a new one. But most of the time when we're thinking about having that regular chat conversation, collaboration is going to be the route to go. You also have the ability to change the access settings. So right now, your only options are private or Scott County Board of Education. When you set it up as Scott County Board of Education, you can see that it's going to gray out the ability for external members to join. So if you were wanting to have a space that had students and it had parents in it with their personal emails, it's going to need to be a private space. And that's just to kind of allow that to be a little bit more reserved access. You're not going to have students or staff within Scott County schools being able to search for your space. Now, if you do have a space that you want students to be able to come in and out of and to be able to search for and request to join it, then you could use this. But if you are wanting to have potentially some outside external members join, then you're going to need to make that a private one, because again, this can't be modified after creation. So if you want to be able to have students and parents join that, or any other external members if they're outside of Scott County schools. So maybe you need to include somebody from another district as well. That would have to be checked. But for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to show this would be a group chat with students. So when I set this up, you can see that I can go ahead and add members here. You can also add members up here. So I'm going to click on that. This gives you, again, your settings. I'm going to manage my members. I'm going to add my son to this space. And in order to do that, I'm going to hit add. And then you can see I have a bunch of people from Scott County schools. So just like when I'm adding somebody to a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, I'm going to be able to see those should automatically pull up. So I'm going to select him and I'm going to add him. You could select multiple people. If I were adding other teachers to this as well, I could also make them space managers. I can also choose to remove people once they've been added to a group, or block anybody if they keep getting added to a group somehow from a space manager. You could certainly block them, but you can remove them from that space. You have, again, your permissions. You have some details about the space as well. But I'm going to go ahead and show you that here I can go ahead and create a message. And send that out. And it's going to, just like any other messaging feature, you're going to have a thread of conversations. You can also add in Drive files. So let's say that I have a form that I want to be able to share out with everybody that's in my group. I can go to a particular form that I already have and I can add it into that. So let's see. Let's add this one. Now I have a way that I can share that out to that group. So maybe I needed everybody to fill out a Google form that I have. All of the same permissions that you have within Workspace default into this. They apply over here. So if you have something that's just restricted to a particular group of students, or it hasn't been shared with everybody, they're not going to be able to access it here. They can see the link, but it's going to tell them they need to request access. So you need to make sure that your permissions within the form or the doc or the sheets still apply so that they can access it, but that is one way that you can share items to them. One thing that's important to note, just because I added Graham to my space, that does not automatically mean that he's going to get that to his cell phone. He's going to need to download that app, that Google Chat app, in order to access those messages. If we had Gmail, it would send a notification through that method instead. But because we aren't set up that way yet, your students are going to need to know that they've been added to a space. Don't assume that they're automatically going to receive that. Same with parents. They would need to go to that space or download the app so that they could get regular communication. Now, if you've got that app on your phone, sometimes you might not want to receive notifications at all hours. There are ways to change that within settings. So a couple different ways. If I'm in the middle of teaching or I'm going into a meeting and I don't want to receive a loud notification, you can set a do not disturb. So you can set that for 30 minutes, preset times, or you can choose a specific time that you want those notifications to be muted. Those conversations are still going to be going on. You're just not getting those regular notifications. You can also set this up so that you're only receiving your notifications at certain times. So let's say that I really don't want to get notifications pushed to my phone from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I can change that, and I can change which days that applies to. I can change the setting. If I want to start getting messages as early as 6 a.m., you can change that there. You can change it so you don't get messages on the weekends. Again, those are still going to be going on in the background. You're just not getting those push notifications. So that is a great way to maybe have some work-life balance and not receive those notifications. But you could certainly check and uncheck that. So maybe I sent something and it's really important that students be able to reach me even after the workday. I could unclick that and now I can receive those messages to anywhere that I have that app set up. One feature to also note is that in the messaging, you can choose automatic translation as well. So you can choose to have your messages translated automatically for you. So that could be helpful if you have students or parents who don't have English as their first language. One last feature that I think can be really helpful is that you can search within a chat. So let's say that I had a conversation. I know that I had a conversation about Senate Bill 181 with somebody, and I want to go back and I want to search the messages that I've already had. I can see a full list of conversations where that has been included, but if I want to narrow it down a little bit more and I really only want to look for conversations that I had within a certain chat, then I can go and find those same ones. So it's got a nice search feature. If you know that it came from a particular person, then you could again go down and use those filters to get a little bit more specific. Or if you know that somebody included a document with it when they shared it, you can again use those filters to kind of help you figure out a little bit more, narrow it down a little bit more. And again, you can have direct messaging if you've got it with, if you need to have messages with just particular people. You can also have those spaces. This doesn't only have to be with staff members or with students. This can also be with staff members. So let's say that I have a group of science teachers and I want to be able to have regular communication and go back and share files. This can be a great tool to do that. So that's one way that it can be used. You can also maybe set it up with committees that you're on. And this could be ways that you can have regular conversation outside of an email. That's a little bit easier to access from multiple settings. And again, kind of has more of a messaging or a little bit more of an informal feel than some of the, than sometimes an email can. And again, you can easily access the files that you already have in your drive and link them into your Google Chat to save you some steps. So hopefully this is helpful for you as you're figuring out how to set up Google Chat. You certainly don't have to use Google Chat. You can use email, you can use any of the other methods that we already have established as our traceable communication system, but this does give you an option if you are worried about being reached after hours, or if you need to have a group and you're trying to look for an alternative to email and you want to use more of an instant messaging app option instead. Again, this can include messages from staff to staff, so that's always an option. You can have staff and students involved in this, and you can also open it up to external emails for parents, and you can adjust those groups and spaces at any time and make adjustments to the settings to hopefully allow you an alternative to just regular email.